Picture this. You're at a gathering. It's winding down. The host started stacking dishes 10 minutes ago. Someone quietly turned the music low. The energy in the room has already made its decision. It's over. And the only person who hasn't received that message is the one still talking, still leaning forward, still building stories on top of stories, still laughing a half beat after everyone else stopped. The host's smile is working overtime. Eyes are exchanging glances that say everything nobody is willing to say out loud. People are disappearing, to the kitchen, to their phones, to anywhere with an exit. And the person keeps talking. Everyone else already left the moment. They're just still physically there. You felt that secondhand discomfort before. That tight, almost suffocating awkwardness of watching someone not read a room that everyone else has already read. But here's what nobody says. Sometimes, not always, not dramatically, that person is you. Not the loud version, not the obvious version, the quieter one. The one where the conversation was already over and you kept it alive. The one where the room had already shifted and you didn't feel it. The one where people were waiting for you to leave and you stayed. That's what this is about. The first layer is the most comfortable to talk about, so let's move past it quickly. Some people can't read a room, not because they're unintelligent. Often they're acutely intelligent in other directions. But social awareness is a learned language, and a lot of people were raised in homes where nobody taught it, where overstaying wasn't recognized as a thing, where stay as long as you want was said without the invisible asterisk that governs most human interaction. These people exist on incomplete maps. They're not lying. They genuinely don't see what the room is broadcasting. But that only accounts for part of this, and frankly, the less interesting part. The more uncomfortable truth lives here: loneliness. Not the kind people announce, the quiet, underground kind. The kind that operates beneath the surface of normal behavior and shapes decisions people would never consciously make. When someone overstays, they are often not being inconsiderate. They are being starved, quietly, invisibly starved, for something they aren't getting anywhere else. Maybe this is the only real conversation they've had this week. Maybe this gathering is the one place they felt, for a few hours, like they were wanted somewhere. Maybe leaving means going back to somewhere with no noise in it, no warmth, nothing that feels like being seen. They're not trying to stay too long. They're trying to stay where they feel something. That's not a character flaw. That's a person in pain doing the only thing that numbs it. The tragedy, and it is a tragedy, is this. The more desperately they cling to these moments, the more they destroy exactly what they're trying to hold. They're drinking from a well and cracking it at the same time. Then there is the fear of endings. Leaving forces a reckoning. It makes something finite that felt, while it was happening, like it could keep going. And for people who carry a quiet terror of being forgotten, of mattering less than they think they do, endings aren't neutral. Every goodbye is a small, private wound. So they delay, unconsciously. One more story, one more question, one more branch that keeps the thing alive a little longer. They think they're connecting. They don't realize the connection already died 5 minutes ago, and they're the only ones still holding it. And then there's the version nobody wants to talk about. Some people notice. They catch the shorter answers. They register the shift in posture. They see the host glance at the door. They hear the slight drop in warmth. They feel the invisible pressure of a room that has decided it's time. And they stay anyway. Because somewhere in how they see themselves, they have made a quiet decision that their desire to be somewhere outweighs the other person's unspoken need for them to leave. That politeness is an invitation. That as long as nobody says it out loud, it doesn't count. These people have learned something dangerous. That social grace will protect them. That people are too polite to confront. That they can rely on the discomfort of others to extend their own comfort indefinitely. Silence isn't agreement. Silence is often just patience running out. Politeness has trapped more people in unwanted conversations than honesty ever will. And some people, consciously or not, have built their entire social strategy around exploiting that. That's the version that's hardest to hear. That's also the version most people listening to this are closest to. Here is the truth about what happens next. Nobody tells you. That's the part that makes this so brutal and so invisible at the same time. Almost no one will look you in the eye and say what they mean. We are socially conditioned to protect people from discomfort at enormous cost to ourselves, and so instead of honesty, we offer distance. The invitations come slightly less often. The responses arrive a little slower. The warmth in someone's voice drops 1 degree, then another, and you can feel it, but you can't name it. And eventually, you're looking at a friendship or a connection that has quietly hollowed out, and you have no idea what happened because nobody ever told you. You weren't invited less because they hate you. You were invited less because they were tired. You stayed until the moment died, and then you wondered why it never came back. People won't tell you to leave. They'll just stop inviting you. And you'll spend months replaying conversations, trying to find the thing you said wrong, when the truth is, it wasn't what you said. It was that you didn't know when to stop saying it. Now look at yourself, not in the abstract, specifically. Think about the last few conversations you had. Did the other person's replies get shorter while yours got longer? Did they start responding to questions with one-word answers while you kept building? Did you notice them check their phone? Not once, but with that particular rhythm that has nothing to do with expecting a message? Did people seem genuinely happy when you arrived and slightly relieved when you left? Do you find yourself asking why certain friendships have gone quiet, why certain people are harder to reach now, why the energy has shifted in ways you can't explain? The signs were there. The question is whether you were watching for them. The shorter replies, the suddenly busy schedule, the forced laugh that appears at the right time but doesn't reach the eyes, the body already pointing toward the exit. The moment someone physically turns toward the door, that's not subtle. That is a person communicating something they have already decided not to say out loud. You thought you were in a conversation. You were in a performance of one. Now the hardest part. Nobody tells you you're too much. They just make less space for you, gradually, politely, without ever giving you anything real to push back against. They become slightly harder to reach, slightly less available, slightly more busy in ways that never quite resolve into an explanation. You lose people not in a fight, not in a moment you could point to and say, that's where it broke. You lose them in accumulated inches of quiet withdrawal that nobody named out loud. You thought people liked you. Some of them did, but they also didn't know how to tell you to leave. And that is the version of this that should sit with you. Because the most painful thing isn't losing people dramatically. It's losing them while the conversation was still going, while you were still talking, still adding, still taking up space in a room that had already decided it wanted you to be somewhere else. You don't lose people loudly. You lose them quietly, while you were still talking. The growth that matters here isn't a checklist. It's the development of a specific, uncomfortable skill. The ability to read what isn't being said. Not just words, energy. The quality of someone's attention. Whether the warmth in their voice is real or maintained. Whether they're present in the conversation or waiting for it to end. It means learning to leave before the room wants you to end things while they're still good, not because the moment is over, but because you respect the moment enough not to run it into the ground. Because the people who understand this, the people who know when to leave, are the ones whose absence is felt. Their departure creates space. It leaves people wanting more. It makes the next invitation inevitable. Knowing when to leave is not rejection. It is not retreat. It is one of the rarest and most sophisticated forms of respect you can show another person. I value this enough to end it while it's still alive. The connections that last are not the ones where you stayed the longest. They're the ones where you left at exactly the right moment, where you trusted the relationship enough to let it breathe, where you chose the room's memory of you over your own need to stay. Some of the most powerful things you can give someone are the ones you hold back. Some of the most important words are the ones you decide not to say. And some of the most meaningful moments you will ever create are the ones where you simply, quietly, gracefully, let something end before it had to. Most people won't tell you to leave. They'll just remember how long you stayed and decide, next time, not to invite you at all.